I'm Connor Old, and welcome back to another episode of Old's Oscar Countdown. And this week we are back with another episode breaking down the Best Supporting Actress category, who I think will get nominated, as well as a couple of possible contenders. But if you're new to the series, what I do every single week is break down a different Oscar category, give my predictions, do a deep dive into each and every single one, my reasonings for why I have them in, as well as a couple of the possible contenders to ultimately help you make your own predictions, get some insight into now over 8 years of Oscar predictions and accurate Oscar predictions year over year. We've been having a lot of fun so far this season, still early on, but you guys have been showing a lot of support, commenting below, giving me your predictions, giving me your thoughts. I really do love to hear that kind of stuff, so please continue to do that. And if you'd like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the videos. We always upload Mondays at 12 p.m. Eastern, but as we get closer into Golden Globes and Critics' Choice Awards, where we're going to be predicting some of those award shows and nominations and reactions and all that good stuff, there's going to be multiple videos a week, so definitely subscribe so you don't miss those as well. Right now we're going through the acting categories, but we will do a deep dive into all of the categories, even stuff like the technical awards, editing, international film. That will be coming like we have now. This is the 9th year we've been doing this, so we definitely have a good track record of accurately predicting things, but also keeping you informed and some of my kind of thoughts and analysis for this year. And as always, I have timestamps in the description below, so if you want to hear my thoughts on certain actors or skip this introduction part, you can always do that just by clicking on those timestamps. But let's get into things, starting off with my first prediction, which is going to be Zoe Saldana in Emilia, Pérez. Usually my rankings are always by what's the most likely to get nominated, but in this case I'm almost pretty confident that Zoe Saldana has a very strong likelihood of winning for Best Supporting Actress. She's definitely getting nominated because she's in Emilia, Pérez, which is one of the most well-liked movies of this award season. I expect to get nominated for Best Picture and Director and a lot of acting awards. Saw it at TIFF, played very well with the crowd, so much so that it was actually the runner-up for the People's Choice Award, which is a very strong sign that the general public really likes the movie as well. Played well at Cannes, played well at different festivals, so we know that it's a well-liked movie, likely to get nominated for Best Picture, has Netflix behind it, so that helps too. And then when you think about it, you go, okay, well, Zoe Saldana, I've seen the movie. She's essentially the co-lead of the movie. It's kind of a situation where Brad Pitt, for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, got nominated for Best Supporting Actor, even though it's him and Leo are the clear kind of co-leads of the movie. Brad Pitt's character is supporting Leo's character in that movie. He's his stunt double. And in the same way, this movie, Zoe Saldana's character is supporting Emilia Pérez in her, transition into being a woman. So because she's supporting one of the main characters, I think she's going to be campaigned and ultimately put in the supporting actress race. And the benefit of having someone who's in a lot of the movie be in supporting is when you think about the movie, you think about them. If you really like this movie, like I think they will, Zoe Saldana is essentially the main character. She has many scenes by herself, and she starts the movie, and she's all the way up until the end of the movie. Like, she is really an integral part of this movie, and she does a lot. She has emotional scenes, she has funny scenes, she has musical sequences. There is a lot of kind of acting that she's able to do. Her characters, I think, very well fleshed out and complex. So on the very kind of simple factor that you essentially have a co-lead of a really well-liked movie campaigning in the supporting category, that gives her a really strong advantage. Think of something like Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or Mahershala Ali for Green Book, or Viola Davis for Fences. Well-liked Best Picture nominated movies that ultimately get supporting wins for their actors who are in a lot of the movie. That's the case here with Zoe Saldana. Then my second pick, I'm going to go with Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. This is a movie I've also seen similar to Emilia Pérez, and while I have it in my second slot, I'm not super confident that it's going to necessarily win, that she's going to challenge Zoe Saldana, but I am very confident that she will get nominated. I didn't walk out of The Brutalist going like, wow, Felicity Jones, give her the Oscar, but she's very good in the movie. She shows up in the second half of the movie, really kind of after that intermission, and the movie I thought most about when I was watching The Brutalist was The Master, the Paul Thomas Anderson movie. If you remember, in that movie, you had 3 acting nominations: Joaquin Phoenix, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Felicity Jones. and Amy Adams. And Felicity Jones is kind of like that Amy Adams type of a role, a little bit more in the background, has her kind of integral scenes, but not necessarily as flashy as the two male leads. And I think it's a similar situation here with the Brutalist, except I think the Brutalist would be more well-liked than the Master. And let's not forget, Amy Adams did get nominated for the Master, so there's some correlations there. Very solid in this movie. I think more of an Emily Blunt and Oppenheimer type of a nomination, because she is the wife of the kind of main character that the story is revolving around, but does have kind of maybe one or two scenes where she can really kind of flex her she also has osteoporosis, so she's in a wheelchair for a lot of the movie, so she doesn't rely necessarily on her physicality, which I think the Academy will respect. Been a past nominee at the Oscars in a really well-liked movie, supporting the main character, and is in a good chunk of that second half. I believe in The Brutalist as a well-liked movie, and most of the time in this supporting actor and actress category, it's filled with a lot of people who are in Best Picture nominees, so I think Felicity Jones has a very good shot for a nomination because of the support I think people will have for The Brutalist, and because she does an excellent job with her kind of limited scenes. Then my third pick, I'm going to go with Danielle Deadwyler for The Piano Lesson. Another movie I saw at TIFF, and while I don't think it's going to get nominated for Best Picture, I actually think this will help her chances. I did some analysis, and every year since 2017, there's been at least one performance nominated in this category where the actor's movie was not nominated for Best Picture. So most of the time, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 of the nominees have their movie also nominated for Best Picture. So, Jamie Lee Curtis gets the win here, and also her movie Everything Everywhere All at Once gets nominated for Best Picture. But there are still, performances like Danielle Brooks in The Color Purple, or Hong Chow in The Whale. Movies that I would say are maybe more in the 11, 12 slots of Best Picture, but then still get a couple of other nominations, usually on the acting side, in the case of The Color Purple for Danielle Brooks, or The Whale with Hong Chow. And I think that's a similar situation here with The Piano Lesson, played at the film festivals, well-liked, has Netflix behind it, so will be seen, will be campaigned, but I think it's a little bit too much of a divisive movie and a little bit too play-like for it to be really celebrated by the Academy, which is why I have it in the kind of 11-12 spot. I know it had a lot of momentum coming out, but after seeing the movie, I don't think John David Washington gets nominated. I don't think Samuel L. Jackson, just based on their performances within the movie and how much they're in the movie. But with the benefit of Danielle Deadwyler, if she's campaigning in this case in supporting actress, is she's in a lot of the movies, similar to Zoe Saldana. When you think about the movie, I think you think of her and John David Washington. They're the kind of back and forth throughout the movie. She has some very emotional scenes. She can flex her chops. So she is, I think, at least in my money, the standout of the movie. And this is a movie that, while I don't think is going to get nominated for Best Picture, actually helps her in this case, because I wanted to include at least one movie that I don't think is going to get nominated for Best Picture. Even though she hasn't been nominated for the Oscars, she almost got nominated for Till. Remember, that was the Andrea Riseborough 2 Less a Year that kind of surprised us. But that year for Till, she got nominated for Critics' Choice and SAG and BAFTA. So we know she has kind of more broad support. I think this year, with Netflix behind it, Till was a smaller movie with a smaller distributor. Now you have a bigger movie, bigger stars, Netflix behind it. And once again, she delivers a fantastic performance, giving her a lot to do. And I think that the fact that her movie will be seen and ultimately still well-liked, if not maybe Best Picture-liked, and she gives an amazing dynamite performance, and she's in a lot of this movie in, the supporting actress category. That always helps to be in a lot of your movie, so I think that will definitely help her in this case. Now, my fourth prediction, I'm going to go with Saoirse Ronan for Blitz. This is the first movie I haven't seen of this video, but based on reviews and what we've heard, it does seem that she is the standout of the movie. There's a little bit of Harris Dickinson as a supporting actor, but mostly kind of this central kid performance. Kid performances usually aren't getting nominated, so if we do think that this is an Oscar contender like I do, where is it going to get nominated? So if we think it's going to get in for Best Picture, sure. Production design, yes. Sound, yes, probably. And then I'm also banking on Saoirse Ronan getting nominated here. I mentioned on my Best Actress video that every single time of the 4 times Saoirse Ronan has been nominated, her movie was nominated for Best Picture. So I think if we think Blitz is going to get nominated for Best Picture, then Saoirse Ronan could have a solid chance of getting nominated as well here. For she also has the Outrun, and I mentioned in the Best Actress video that I think her campaigning for the Outrun and then that leading into her campaigning for Blitz means she's going to be out there, means she's going to be kind of coming back. She hasn't been nominated in a few years, so I think her with these kind of 2 solid movies in the fall festival, kind of fall season here, she wants to get nominated. She's very well liked within the Academy. We know that. I can't say to how much she is in the movie, but she does have some key scenes in terms of dancing and singing, and I think just the fact that she is one of the, if not the most famous person in the movie, and then you see the posters, she's the face on the posters, they're selling her. I think that fact will, when people think of Blitz, they'll think of Saoirse Ronan, and that always helps in these supporting categories because, one of my possible contenders is, Aunjanue Ellis for Nickel Boys. When you see the poster of Nickel Boys, it's not Aunjanue Ellis on the poster. So sometimes it's as simple as that. It's as simple as, we don't really think of Aunjanue Ellis when we think of Nickel Boys. But when you think of Blitz, you're going to think of Saoirse Ronan, maybe Steve McQueen too, but at least in terms of the press materials and the trailers and who is the biggest star, who's in the most amount of the movie. I mean, she is the single mother of this boy who's the main character of the movie and has kind of that emotional scenes to it. The movie was well received out of kind of BFI and New York Film Festival, more so by the Brits, which is kind of expected, but the Brits do still make up a decent percentage of the Academy. They were the kind of the first international voters, so they have some significant will and influence. So Steve McQueen, homegrown kind of a filmmaker, well respected there in a kind of patriotic type of a movie. That's very rousing. I think it will really resonate to the international branch of the Academy, and ultimately that will help Saoirse Ronan, combined with kind of her American and Hollywood friends, help her to push her over the edge for a nomination. And who knows, I haven't seen this movie, but if it's solid enough of a performance, she could maybe even win. Then in my final slot, I went with Selena Gomez for Emilia Pérez, and this is a bet on the popularity of Emilia Pérez more so than it is the incredible performance that Selena Gomez gives. I think she delivers a very good performance in this movie. However, her character is a little bit maybe more one note. She doesn't really have the emotional scenes until the very end. She's kind of the more antagonist, bitter ex-wife situation throughout a lot of the movie. So she's a little bit more one note until the movie kind of evolves into the second and third acts, and she's allowed to get more scenes and be more to the forefront. And she does have some emotional moments, particularly at the end, which may kind of help her in terms of when you walk out of Emilia Pérez, you go, oh, Selena Gomez was pretty solid. But she is definitely in less of the movie than Garcia Gascon, than Carla Sofia Gascon or Zoe Saldana. But like I said, I'm betting on Emilia Pérez being a really well-liked movie and them wanting to nominate the 3 main actresses in the movie in the same way Cannes, when they gave out the Best Actress prize, they gave it to all 3 of the actresses because they are also integral to the telling of this story. And let's not forget, aside from last year, we had a situation where 5 years in a row, 2 actors from the same movie were nominated in either the Best Supporting Actor category or the Best Supporting Actress category. So we had Sam Rockwell and Woody Harrelson, both from 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, get nominated, or Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone in The Favorite both get nominated in the Best Supporting Actress category. We had this bit of a trend, aside from last year, where 2 people from the same movie kept on getting nominated. So the Oscars aren't afraid to do that. That is a little bit more of a recent trend where if they're unsure about giving it to someone in a movie they didn't like, they'll just double up on a movie they do like. So I think this is a real possibility. It's not going to happen in the supporting actor category, I don't think. If it is going to happen somewhere, it's probably going to happen here in Best Supporting Actress. So I could have gone with some of my other possible contenders, betting on the success and the popularity of those actresses. Ultimately, I went with the success and popularity of this movie in the case of Emilia Pérez. And Selena Gomez, she's still going to campaign. I'm sure she wants an Oscar. She sees this as an opportunity. Netflix will push kind of all 3 actresses. I don't think there's going to be a priority necessarily towards one or other. And let's not forget, this is also a Netflix movie. And Netflix always does well at the SAG Awards. So if Emilia Pérez does really well at SAG Awards, gets in for, say, maybe ensemble, and then also for all three actresses, that will almost give the Academy approval and the allowance to give Selena Gomez the nomination if she gets, Critics' Choice early on and SAG, and that kind of pushes her over the edge as someone who's acceptable to be nominated. Now, jumping into a couple of possible contenders. The first one I went with is Isabella Rosselini for Conclave. I almost put this in just because I do think Conclave will be a strong Oscar movie. That being said, she really is in very little of the movie. She has one major scene that really had an applause break in my screening. It definitely will resonate and appeal to the Academy. It's a powerful scene in the same way, Emily Blunt last year with Oppenheimer got nominated for that one scene. Or, even go like Judi Dench with Shakespeare in Love really got nominated and won actually for the one scene. But I'm not going to bet on that. I'm not going to bet that she's just in such a small part of the movie that I don't know if people will think about her when they think about the movie. That being said, we have seen this type of a nomination in the past. The elder stateswoman who gets nominated, never been nominated before, tied to a really great movie. This is a kind of a path and kind of a one scene type performance. I mentioned kind of the Emily Blunt just being last year. We do see, you can even say someone like an Aunjanue Ellis in King Richard got nominated based on kind of one dynamite scene. If your movie's well liked, which Conclave is, check, and you have one really powerful scene, which Isabella Rossellini has, check, and you're a well-established veteran actress who's never been nominated before, check. The Academy may just want to finally reward you, but I'm just not betting on that because she's in such little of the movie that it's scaring me off a little bit, but she's absolutely a possible contender. Absolutely. And if any group were to go for her, it's not going to be BAFTA, it's not going to be SAG, it's going to be the Academy. So this could be a Oscar morning surprise. She doesn't get any precursors, but hey, Isabella Rossellini, we like her, let's nominate her. Definitely a possibility. And then my other possible contender is Aunjanue Ellis for Nickel Boys. In many similar reasons for Isabella Rossellini, established veteran actress, well-liked. In this case, Aunjanue Ellis has been nominated before. The difference why I have her in my 7th slot versus my 6th slot is just because I think Nickel Boys is not guaranteed to get nominated for Best Picture, or I think Conclave is pretty much nominated for Best Picture at this point. And similarly, though, with Aunjanue Ellis and Nickel Boys, she is playing this doting grandmother who's supporting the main character, Ethan Harris's Elwood, and has a very likable role. She's playing that doting grandmother. We've seen Judi Dench in Belfast or Aunjanue for Minari. The grandmother role oftentimes get nominated and even win sometimes because they're very likable, they're very sweet, they're very warm, loving. She is in this scenario as well. In this movie, but she doesn't have that many scenes similar to Isabella Rossellini. She's definitely in the background, and like I mentioned before, with someone like a Saoirse Ronan. When you think of Saoirse Ronan, or when you think of Blitz, you think of Saoirse Ronan. When you think of Emilia Pérez, you think of Selena Gomez and Zoe Saldana. These are significant roles within Best Picture type movies. Aunjanue Ellis, maybe Nickel Boys gets nominated, but maybe not. And when you think of Nickel Boys, I think you think of kind of the directing and Rommel Ross and Ethan Harris and maybe less so of Aunjanue Ellis' character. But that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on the Best Supporting Actress category. I feel like I have a good handle on this category. I think Zoe Saldana is clearly in the front to win. And I think Felicity Jones and Danielle Deadwyler and Saoirse Ronan, I think they're very likely to get nominated as well. And then that 5th slot, I'm banking on Selena Gomez for Emilia Pérez. Maybe you bank on Ariana Grande for Wicked, if that's a really great movie. Haven't seen that one yet. Or maybe you bet on Isabella Rossellini for having that big one-scene performance and the Academy liking the older actresses for the supporting category. Tough to say right now, but excited to see how this unfolds. But that's about it. Until next time, stay tuned.